It is another edition of the On the Mic podcast, and not sure exactly when this will release. It'll release on her fight week, but as we approach episode 300 of this podcast, I'm not just saying this because she can kick my ass. I'm saying this because it's true. This woman has been influential. She's been available, and for that, as I get close to 300 episodes, I thank her. Coming back to MMA for the first time in a while, the one and only. She stays busy. She stays busy. The one and only from Chicago, Pearl Gonzalez. Pearl, welcome back. How are you?
I'm amazing, Mike. Thank you for having me on. So nice to talk to you again.
I know it's been a while. It has been a while, but obviously we'll do some catching up here. Just kind of talk to me first off, like how you're coming back into MMA at XFC 50 next weekend, April 12th. How did this all come about?
Well, I think that the opportunity presented itself. XFC has decided to reinvent themselves and launch their new promotion, and it was just timing and preparation, and so it was a great opportunity that presented itself. I was ready to get back on the mats and get back into the sport and see kind of where I fit in here. I love competing. I love challenging myself, and I'm at a point in my career where I only want fights that are risky, that excite me, that make me want to get up and go to the gym because I don't have to do this anymore. And MMA just it gives me there's a lot of like gray areas and windows and places for me right now that I have spent the last few years striking. And so it was the right timing and the right moment. So here I am. I'm in San Diego and I'm living like the most simple life ever. I brought like 10 pairs of clothes, training clothes with me. I only have training gym shoes. Like my coach let me use a car. It's like this little hunk of junk I'm like cruising around in, and I love it. It reminds me of being in my 20s and being young and hungry again, and just training my ass off here. I'm having a blast.
Well, the one thing I love about all the conversations that you and I have had is you always keep it very real. And, you just said, I didn't have to come back. And we've talked about how you view yourself as a woman, as a fighter, and how, previous generations before you led you into the sport and where you're from led you into the sport. So the easy question is, why are you coming back?
I think that I have some unanswered questions, and I don't think that I have done enough to where I can walk away and be satisfied with the rest of my life, living the rest of my life with some of these unanswered questions that I have for myself. And for now, this is solely to just prove to myself where I am, who I am. And I think that MMA is my probably the love of my life. It really is my true love of my life, the longest love of my life. I've been in the sport so long, and I love boxing, and it's my newfound love, and I'm just been completely obsessed with it. But there's no doubt that I have so many other skills in the grappling and the judo and the wrestling and MMA because I've been in the sport so long. And I want to see where I'm at now that I have these striking skills, now that I'm very confident that I thrive in chaos and chaotic fights and the blood and the lights and the crowd, and I love it. And so I want to see where this all kind of puts me and leads me in an MMA fight.
What was that decision like for you? Not to say that, when you stepped away from MMA, you were like, I'm only going to focus on striking. I'm only going to do this, or I'm only going to do that. But was there a conversation within yourself, with your coaches, where you're like, all right, for this time period, I'm going to focus on striking, or I'm going to focus on this aspect of martial arts. And then when I feel I'm ready, we'll reconvene and see what was up. Was there ever any type of conversation like that?
It didn't kind of happen that way. I think that when it all kind of worked itself out, it was right at the end of 2020, right? And that was when our sport just started fucking booming. I was really focused on my professional jujitsu at that time. There was they weren't allowing me to fight in any other organization, and there were no fights happening. And I think that I focused on the jujitsu because the jujitsu was around at that point, and we were competing. I think it was like I don't remember the promotions, but I got injured and I tore my MCL, and it was completely torn off the bone. I had tore it 4 times prior to that time, and was able to heal it with physical therapy without needing surgery. And so because it was torn completely off the bone, I had to have it reconstructed and have surgery. And so I was like training so hard, and I didn't want to lose the momentum I had. So it just so happened that bare knuckle boxing presented itself at that time. And it made a lot of sense. I could still run, I could still box, and I could still do and compete in boxing without having to have surgery. And so that was the whole reason why I went into boxing and bare knuckle boxing in the first place, because I wanted to continue competing. And then after I was done there, I decided to have surgery, and I didn't want to rush my way back into the grappling. The grappling was probably my biggest challenge, was or at least for myself, confidently to get back on the mats. And so I just kind of focused on my boxing, and did a couple professional boxing fights, and just worked my boxing, worked on my striking. And I wasn't sure yet where I was going to go. I want to pursue a title in boxing. I think that I have the focus and the dedication and the commitment to that sport that I can pursue a belt in professional boxing. But, there was always a piece of me that the love of my life there's no doubt, is MMA and the grappling. I love it. It's a completely different version of who I am, an identity that I haven't really been able to express in a long time. And so I had always missed the mats. I loved the mats. For most of my MMA career, I was a grappler, and just a different. Sorry, the cat is being crazy. Get out of here. He's like literally knocking over plants and stuff. But it's just been kind of an interesting journey for me to continue to compete. And when one door closes, either you can make an excuse and choose to stay behind that door, or you find a new way in, and you find a different door to open, or a different lock to unlock it. And that's kind of what I've been doing, is just kind of going with the flow and where I'm at in my career. And so I think that when this presented itself, my knee's really healthy. It's been really strong. I've worked really hard on rehabbing it, and just taking good care, making really good decisions training wise. And so I felt very confident, and decided to get back on the mats, and it's felt good, and it feels good. And fuck, it's been an amazing journey to be back on the mat, back in that identity, and back feeling like an MMA fighter. Felt so far away and impossible at times in my life. And so I'm so blessed every day, even when it sucks and I'm sore and I'm tired and I don't want to train anymore, and I just got my ass whooped and tapped out. And like, I remind myself how grateful I am to position again, because there was times I never knew if I would come back.
I can't wait for the Pearl Gonzalez book. I just want to say that. Like, every time you and I talk, and I hope I will tell you, I'm getting some bad video reception on your end. Hopefully, this next question we can that can clear up. But well, I got to tell you first and foremost, before I ask a question, you just broke so many hearts in your last answer, calling MMA your one true love. There are so many people who are gonna watch this who have followed Pearl Gonzalez's career, thinking one day, but MMA is your true love, and I love that. And honestly, if I could speak freely, I love to see the happiness within you. I think in times you and I have talked, and it's about like, I'm doing this because I need to do this, or I want to find out what's next for me, or where I'm going from here. You sound happy, you sound confident, you sound healthy. It's so, for me, as someone who's followed your career for so long, it's so rejuvenating for myself to see just how happy you are. And I think it should be a message to any and all fighters. Like, you could get to the mountaintop, but that mountaintop that you thought had a pot of gold at the top may have only had bronze and silver in it. And maybe your mountain isn't the highest one, and maybe there's gold somewhere else. So I'm excited. But you did say you still want a boxing title. So I know MMA's here now. Are we gonna see you back in the boxing ring?
I mean, I'm so open to opportunities. I don't have a manager today. I'm not signed to any promotion. I'm a free agent, a free agent athlete, whatever you want to call it. And that's allowed for me to kind of let what presents itself, and we will see. I mean, right now I'm focused on mixed martial arts. Right now I'm focused on my grappling. and this is what I want to focus on. But there's no doubt that I spent a lot of years in boxing focusing on my boxing, and I know the skills I have there, and I know that I can compete at that level. And yeah, I do want to test myself and win a belt in boxing. It's always been something I've dreamed of, even before boxing came about and became a reality in my career. You know, I was younger as an amateur. I won Golden Gloves, so I'd always loved boxing. I've always had this special place for it in my heart. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what presents itself. I am open to all opportunities. I'm a fighter. At the end of the day, I love to fight, and I love the war. I love the blood. I love the challenge. I love someone being in front of me that feels like it's an unmovable mountain, and having to claw tooth and nail and just fight through to get over that mountain. There's nothing in this world and nothing in this life that even compares to the feeling that I feel inside of a war, inside of a fight. And so at the end of the day, I'm a fighter. Whatever presents itself and gets me to that place is where I'm going. So we'll see where that takes me.
I don't want to get beat up for what I'm about to say, not by you, but Mr. Jake Paul, if you have another event in Puerto Rico and you do not have Pearl Gonzalez on the card, you're missing out. You're missing out on business. You're missing out on action. You're missing out on great highlights, and you're missing out on a big money opportunity. And that's all I'm gonna say. You know, watching his event in Puerto Rico and seeing the opportunities he's given, especially women boxers. I mean, I know she couldn't compete that night, but he's got a great relationship with Amanda Serrano, who I know you've trained with. Jake, let's make sure you get Pearl Gonzalez on a future card. But let's focus on MMA right now, Mike. Stop worrying about boxing. But I will ask one more boxing question. What is it like when you and I have had this discussion on this podcast before? You've also established in the time of the UFC, outside of your time with the UFC, Pearl Gonzalez, the brand, the woman, the fighter, all of that. Why the hell did you get into bare knuckle boxing? And what was that like? Was that the most brutal kind of art that you've been a part of?
Man, I fucking loved bare knuckle boxing. It felt like a real fight. Like, um, you know, when I got into the sport, I can almost guarantee that the sport's probably twice as good as it was when I was in there. It was still in the very beginning stages when I came in, and so there were a lot of rough edges around it, or the experience around the fight, right? But the fight within itself, inside of itself, fuck, the girls there, they're savages. You can grab, you know, you can strike, you can dirty box. It's so unique. Your hands are open. You feel every shot that either you're throwing or lands on you because of the knuckles. And it just reminded me so much of a street fight. And growing up, I loved to fight. I was always fighting in the streets. I got in trouble, a lot of trouble, but it was just I love to do. It took me back to that place of where I was when I was a young girl fighting the streets, and I loved it. I loved bare knuckle. It was such an incredible experience for me. And you know, as far as bare knuckle goes, boxing, I'm really uninterested. Like in bare knuckle, done it already, but the door is not closed and the window hasn't closed for bare knuckle MMA. That's a very realistic thing that I take off my box and put that on my resume. So I won't put it past. I will say this, man, it fucked my hands up. Like all the training that comes with training your hands, you know, and working your knuckles, because you have to really learn to condition them. Just my hands are not the same. One, my striking is improved incredibly because now I really know how to thud and land on my knuckles, and you really know when you threw a good shot compared to when you didn't. And I had no clue of that when I was as an MMA fighter. Today I really know how to dig my knuckles into someone or something. But like sometimes I like have a hard time opening cans. Like your hands get fucked. My hands were swollen from that first fight. They were swollen for over 2 weeks. They turned black and blue, and the black and blue went all the way down to my elbows. And it took me about a month to get rid of all of that bruising. It was fucking intense.
Yeah, it is. And then now you're talking about bare knuckle MMA. All right. I mean, listen, I'm never gonna argue with you because especially now that you know how to use your knuckles, I'm good. So I'm gonna say this: whatever Pro Gonzalez wants to do, we'll promote it. we'll talk about it. I have no opinion on it. I just want you to continue because I think, as I've told you before, you're a great ambassador, not only for women in mixed martial arts and in boxing, but as a whole, I think you're great for the sport and just seeing the diversity. And, when I asked about, why are you coming back to the MMA and all this, how has this balance of being like doing commentary, having your own brand, and then also being a fighter, how free do you feel these days?
I love my life. I really do. I am such a nerd. I didn't party a lot. I don't party a lot. I don't go out a lot. I'm a pretty boring person, but there's one thing that I can't deny. I'm a learner. I just love to learn. And I think that that's why I'm able to kind of do all of these things because I truly enjoy on the commentary and the analyst side, like studying the sport from outside, studying it from with an outside eye and not just watching the fight, but like watching how this athlete moves in this way or the mentality or the story and the struggle. Like those things are so intriguing to me. I love that part of the sport. I watch it from a whole different perspective than I ever have. And I learn in so many different ways. And I think that like with learning in other ways or like, my brand, that's just part of who I am. That's just my personality. I love fancy clothes. Like, I think I've always been really inspired by a Marilyn Monroe, Cher, Dolly Parton, like all these beautiful, amazing women in history that like were so big. Their personalities were so big. And um they've always inspired me, and so I think that having that and having like my aunt, I know that you've met, and my family, there's a lot of women that are very creative in my family, so it's just something that not to kind of showcase, but it's also something I get to do with my family who's also creative, is we get to put our my beautiful pieces together and create these like fucking crazy outfits. I love it. I love it. I'm happy. I'm where I need to be, I think I even find creativity in cooking. I love cooking food. I'm learning a new language. Like, these are the things that I choose to spend my time. I don't watch too much TV. I don't waste time. I don't if you don't have a good conversation with me, I don't want to fucking talk to you. And I don't mean that. I'm not disrespectful, but like complaining and just there's just specific certain things that I don't want to put any focus towards. And if you're not talking about growth and positivity or overcoming and these things that enhance people's lives, then I don't have time for it. And that's kind of the way I live my life, is I need to grow and improve in every which way I can every single day.
I can speak from experience. She's absolutely right. You and I have had some off-record talks about life and about growth, about that. And you're right. It's so much of a waste of time to be like, "Well, I've got this going on, and this sucks, and this thing sucks, and I hate this." And it's like, sure, it's not to say that people aren't empathetic and want to sympathize for what you're going through, but I look at someone like yourself as an inspiration, not only to myself, because I've told you how conversations with you have led me to make better decisions and get through certain stages in my life, but I just think it's so inspiring for so many people, especially the next generation. But you mentioned something, and
Mhm.
it would be an obvious question to ask you. Do you have a special surprise outfit for the weigh-ins next weekend?
Oh my goodness, it's so special. It's different. It's very unique. Um, but it is very spiritual, and it's very personal to me and my own personal growth and my own spiritual growth, and it means a lot to me. It's being made. My aunt usually makes my outfits. It's being made by natives here in on a tribe here, and I'm really excited to represent the native people and that part of my culture and just my spirituality. And so it's special, it's different, and I'm looking forward to it. Um we also have some things in the works. Nothing is in stone yet or confirmed, but I will hope to be fighting very soon after this fight here. My aunt's already working on the next, which will be back in her crazy ways, but this piece is different. This piece is it's a part of my spirituality and a part of me that I don't share very often with the public and or public at all. I don't talk about very often, but very big into the Native culture and have for many years. And I ceremony twice a week. I spend 6 hours a week praying and sweating with my Native family, my Inipi family, and it's gotten me through the death of my dad. It got me through my divorce. It's just gotten me through the hardest times in my life. So I am going to honor them and just my ancestors and my people with this next coming outfit. It's not as crazy as my other ideas. I have so many other crazy ideas, but this one's is it's important to me because it's almost like, I don't want to say a rebirth, but it's like a rebirth of me, right? In this sport again and coming back to it and being this athlete in MMA again. It's important to me that I share this part of me and for my people.
I can't wait. I'm excited. And you know, there's something that I think you do so well where in other ways in the sport, whether it be MMA, boxing, celebrity boxing, bare knuckle boxing, there's always this conversation. And unfortunately, it's mainly geared towards female fighters. And it's always going to be a popularity contest. And it's always this person's going to get this opportunity because they have X amount of followers and nobody cares about their record. It's just what they look like, what they post, and how many followers they have. But there is also something different about someone like yourself who has the following, who has the creativity, who has the freedom to express herself in any way she wants, but then also works her ass off. So can you kind of speak to that of saying like it's not always about our followers. It's not always about what we post on social media. It's literally just we get the opportunities that are presented to us and we work for it.
I mean, yes, I think that luck, what's the sense of luck? An opportunity needs preparation. And for me, I'm not pretending to be anybody. And for a long time, I kind of like would adhere or just, I didn't want to be too over the board because of what people think. And today I am so confident in the woman that I am. And I love who I am and I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I'd be lying if I didn't care what my nieces think, because my nieces are such a big part of my purpose, my life's purpose and my motivation. So it's a very important to me how my family thinks of me and my nieces especially. But other than that, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. Nobody pays my bills. Nobody takes care of me. I handle my shit when it comes down to it. And I've always known to work. You have to work for the things you want. Nothing is ever given, especially from where I come from. Nothing is given to us. And I think just being true to myself and finding that in throughout these years, like just being true to myself and even like how I view my fights, it's less to me about winning and losing. Like it's more about just going out there and having this fucking crazy, amazing performance that I'm going to remember forever. I don't give a fuck about winning or losing. I just want to go out there and put on, make it fucking exciting, have fun, because these days are and times are limited for me. And focused on I can't lose, I have to win. Like it put a lot of pressure on me and it didn't allow for to just be me and like fluid in there and just have fucking fun. And so that's the way like life for me needs to be lived. And it's less about the followers for me. Honestly, I have kind of pulled away from my social media these years. It's more about me appreciating my life with the things I've been through and watching the people that I love pass away and leave or whatever. It's like at the end of the day, it's, are you fulfilled? Am I fulfilled? And if people's opinions don't fucking fulfill me. Realistically, they don't. People's acceptance doesn't fulfill me. What fulfills me is going and challenging myself and overcoming something or sitting and dealing with my shit instead of running from it. And putting a goal in front of me and achieving that goal and like time in nature, these are the things that really dressing up and being fucking beautiful and being some things that fulfill me. That's what I'm going to do. I don't give a fuck about anybody else. And that's that. Even with being beautiful, to be honest, like I had this conversation, it might have been with you, with like the ring girls and things. People are like, oh, their job's so easy. Is it easy? Because I'm inside of a room doing their hair, doing their makeup 6-7 hours before the fucking show. They probably haven't eaten all day long. They've got to watch their water intake so that they're not bloated and these things, go. And and then they're watching their diet. There's so many pieces to even being beautiful. That's not fucking easy. You got to get your lashes done. That takes 2.5 to 3 hours. You got to get your hair done. That's another 3-4 hours. Your nails, another 3 hours. Fucking facial, another hour and a half. Tanning, another hour. Like, add all of those up. It's not easy to even be beautiful. It's work, and anything that anybody does and it does it well, it's work and consistency, period.
I love it. That's probably the best answer I've had on this show in a very long time. And I love the passion about it. And obviously, I'm not arrogant, but when you talk about, I'm not a ring card boy or man, whatever, but I understand look, nobody knows how long it takes for me to get ready. I mean, it takes hours to get this main ready. I mean, every single day I'm in there doing all of
Yeah.
that. I'm doing all of that. I only eat like once every 4 days. I'm totally kidding, by the way.
Oh
But
my God.
in all seriousness, no, and I appreciate that though, because I do think it's a wrong narrative to put out there of, okay, well, I'm this fighter, I've been fighting for so long, but I can't get it because fighter A is doing this, 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 and this. And it's like, how about just empower everybody and free yourself from, the narrative of I have to be a certain way in order to get these things. No, I don't think you do. And obviously, I've always loved how you've carried yourself, represented yourself. But you did mention something earlier. You said, there could be something in the works shortly after this fight. All right. So, what's Pearl Gonzalez's fight timeline like for 2024? How often will I be
Oh
able to
my
say,
God.
Pearl, you've got
As
another fight?
many.
Want to do an interview?
In a perfect world, if I could get 5 in, 6 in this year, I'm going. Like, I'm healthy. I've got a really good routine and system. My RV, I'm staying at my girlfriend's house who doesn't mind me being here at all. She's an incredible woman. But I'm also getting my RV. My RV is just about done and prepped and ready to rumble so that I can take my RV wherever I need to go to train. But, I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. And as long as I'm healthy and capable of it, there's nothing else that matters right now and nothing else that's more important. That's even with the commentary and even the cooking. I'm not even fucking cooking that much now. Like, everything is kind of pushed to the side so that I can focus on my fight career and just finish out my career and be a fighter and embrace this. And so if I can fight as many times, 5 times this year would be fucking incredible. Anything close to that, hey, I'm happy. So if all goes well, next week I'm not at all looking past this next fight, but the plan is to get right back into fight camp and keep going and see how far I can go and how many fights I can get in this year.
I can't wait, but I do got to ask you this RV business. What is this RV thing you got going on?
Oh my God. So I bought an RV like I've had it for 3 years and it's just kind of been sitting and I remodeled it. It's super cute. It's a really cute little RV. And I originally bought it to be able to travel wherever I want in the US and train so that I can stay here for a week and train or wherever. And I still have something that's mine. And also if if I wanted to stop in like parks and camp and shit like that, I could do that on the way. And it's been sitting because I've been focused on I bought a house and reconstructing that and I had all these other things I've been focusing on, but now I'm here and in the place where I'm at the MMA, that it's difficult to get all the training in one place. And so I want to go to a wrestling camp, if I want to go meet with this judo instructor, I can do that now. And I got my RV. And so the original plan for the RV was to put a podcast studio in there and travel the states and travel for 6 months to a year and train wherever and then do a podcast and interview people and interview the fighters and people that I trained with, which is still not that it's still very possible to do, but at least now I'll have my RV so that I can stay here in San Diego temporarily when I need to for camp. And if I want to go up north, I can go up north. If I want to go to yes, I got my RV.
That's awesome. The last person I would ever think to have an RV is Pearl Gonzalez, but I absolutely love it. And I love the podcast idea. Honestly, I think you're so great on commentary. I think when you're able to express yourself, in the way that you do so freely. I think so many people are going to latch onto it. So I'm not going to say, absolutely you have to do a podcast because that's me being favoritism towards what I do. But I think you're made for it. I think you're made tailor made for the media game as well as the fight game. And I don't want to keep you for too much longer, but I do want to ask. So XFC 50 in Florida, April 12th. You're back in MMA. What should all of us who will be watching expect from Pearl Gonzalez if she returns?
I expect a striking fight for sure. Today I've been focused so much on my striking, and yes, I got my grappling. My grappling's always going to be there. It's never going away. But I want to strike. I want to go in there and I want to see how my hands translate into MMA from boxing, bare knuckle boxing, and see how they translate in MMA. And so I want to use my striking and see where it takes me. I would love a knockout. I've never got a knockout in this sport. I would absolutely love one if that comes. And if not, if an opportunity or a finish presents itself elsewhere, then I'm going for that. I'm definitely going for a finish. It's going to be exciting. I don't fight boring fights. I fight all my fights are exciting. And I'm just going to go in there and have some fun.
Pearl, thank you as always for all your time. I'm so excited for you. Happy that you're back in MMA, and most importantly, just happy to see how happy and energized you are. I think going at your own pace, following your own schedule, following your own path. I think that's empowering, not just for yourself, but for young women who will look at your career or follow your story, or people like myself who have just been able to be there, thankfully, along the way. So I'm so excited
Thank
for you guys
you.
to see April 12th in Florida, Pearl Gonzalez. I can't wait.
Thank you, Mike, so much. I look forward to talking to you soon. Let's talk soon. I don't know if you're in Chicago, but I'll be in Chicago for a few days after my fight.
Perfect. Thank you.